All right, guys, this is the first video back at the shop after I said we were closing doors. Do you guys really think we're gonna just stop just like that? Say, hey, we're closing doors. You guys are wrong. You guys are wrong. We're not leaving. We're not going anywhere.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving! The show goes on!
I mentioned it before. For those of you guys that pay attention, you guys knew what I'm doing. We are consolidating. We are trimming the fat. We're getting rid of the projects that are far out, the stuff that we don't need. We're going to focus on, like, I know this sounds ridiculous, but maybe like 4 cars, which is still a lot. But for us, we could focus on 4 cars because that's a lot easier than focusing on 10 or 12 or 15 or 18. So we're focusing on 4. And I'll go over the main 4 that we're going to focus on. We got Slick Rick right here. This thing is on the home stretch. We got the Black Sheep, which now we can finally start putting the motor together because I have some time available to allot to working in the shop. But Thanksgiving holiday's coming up, so I'm going to be gone for a little bit. But then when we get back, we'll have some time to allot towards it. And then we got the Red Lobster, which we're going to talk about in today's video. As you guys can tell, we're getting ready to set some records. Set some records with the Red Lobster. And then we're going to put the Bad Apple together and get this sucker ready to go. And honestly, I will say, we'll call it 5 projects because that's 4. We're getting the Glizzard knocked out, but I'm going to try to sub that out quite a bit. So very happy with how everything went with the little mini garage sale that we had going on. I sold just about everything except the heads. Some people were questioning about the heads. Everyone wanted like more info. And this is what I don't understand. In this life, I've learned if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. I said I'd sell these heads complete as they are with rockers for $2,500. Now, that's like $1,500 to $2,000 rocker arms, and then these heads, I don't know what they go for new, but obviously they're used. It's very difficult to find a brand new set of heads, like SC1 heads. These are Ford SC1 heads, and it's not only just the casting, but it's complete with the valves and the valve springs. Now, there's 2 broken valve springs, but I'm selling them because I don't have another small block Ford motor to put together. We have one badass one right there, and I don't have any need for these anymore, so I'm willing to let them go. And I'm willing to let them go at a price what I feel like is fair for the conditions that they are. Listen, you Ford guys, you're a little bit different than me. If I see a set of like, what do I buy? Dart Pro 1 heads, and like I get them like just the bare castings for like used. I get them for like $1,200. I'm like, damn, that's really cheap for a set of aftermarket used castings. They're going to be aftermarket used castings. So I had a lot of guys, a lot of small block Ford guys, again, different breed than me. I'm just, at this point in time, I'm not saying I've given up being an LS guy because I'm still an LS guy, but I'm just a horsepower guy. I like horsepower. Hemis, 41X, small block Ford, big block Chevy, LS, it don't matter. I just like them all. So I'm not going, I know how to use a timing light, so you can't consider me an LS guy. All these small block Ford guys are like, oh man, are they fresh, 100% ready to run? I'm like, well, they came off a running car, but they're not in the greatest conditions. They're like, well, god dang, why are you selling them? Like, because I don't want them, nor do I have anything to put them on. So I'm selling them for what I feel like is fairly cheap. And I've had like 50,000 people message me about these heads. Probably because the price is so cheap for a set of complete heads with, $1,500, $2,000 rocker arms. I mean, literally, if you get the rocker arms retail, which the rocker arms are like, they're Jessel aluminum or T&D aluminum rockers with like the billet stands. I mean, they're very nice. It's almost as much as the head complete, like as what I'm doing, everything here. So it's a good deal. Even if you scrap these, sell these to your buddy for $50, you got a nice set of rocker arms. I don't know, but a lot of the small block Ford guys were taken back. They're like, damn. I don't want those pieces of shit unless they're 100% fresh, brand new. Well, if they're 100% fresh, brand new, 1, I probably wouldn't be selling them. And 2, they'd probably be worth like twice as much. It's very odd. It's a very weird area to be in. I've responded to an astronomical amount of people on the Turbo Bullet ad, which I think was great. I still have half as many people I didn't respond to, which I have to respond to. But I'm going to say this, just the small block Ford people are a different breed. I mean, hey, I like it. I think they make better power. I think the small block Ford, a badass like full tilt small block Ford versus a badass LS I think the small block Ford makes more power. I think the LS guys generally, I mean, don't really have a clue what's going on. That's just being completely transparent. Half of them don't know how to use a timing light. Small block Fords take a lot more, I'm going to say it, take a lot more brain cells to put together. Nothing really fits ever. It has to be like kind of custom fit up. And that's why it takes more money and it takes more knowledge. Now, I guess they're very particular in what they want because they think these heads are not, I haven't really, there's a lot of people that want them. A lot of people that want them 100% fresh, but they're not 100% fresh. So for those of you guys, if I don't have them sold by the time this video comes out, which is Sunday, this is the condition of the heads. I mean, they look great down here. Everything's good to go. They got 2 broken valve springs. It's got to be on the other head here. This head here, where is it? Here's one right there. Broke the retainer, and there's a broken spring somewhere else. One of the inners is broken. I don't know where it is. Oh, one of these. One of these, the inners is broken. Maybe it is this one. This one right here. Yeah, this one. Oh, it's outer. The outer broke. Yeah, so it's got. So I mean, listen, need some valve springs. Yeah, for anyone asking for the numbers, there are the numbers on it. And it's a Ford Performance. Like again, I'm no small block Ford expert. You know, I don't. Listen, I was told it's a SC1 Ford casting deal. All I know is the last pass out with this thing with a turbo that's not nearly as good as the turbo we have on the car now. It went like a 440 flat at like 178 Wayne. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say those times, but I just did because it's hopefully going to go a whole lot faster. So if you go 440s and we're putting this new motor and the new turbo on there, you're going to have to go way faster. But yeah, that's where we're at. So shout out to everyone that bought some stuff. As you can tell, it's Sunday and I didn't ship anything out. Sorry about it. I was selling stuff like all day Friday night and Friday and everything, so shipping out Monday. So if you ordered some stuff from me or purchased some stuff from me, it's going out Monday. But we're talking about this thing here. This is the new small block Ford built and assembled by TCAM Performance, and we are going to be chasing internet records yet again. We did it with the Black Sheep. I think it put us in a pretty cool, unique area on the internet. You guys saw the journey of that, and boom, we're going to do it with the Red Lobster. A little bit different journey. I don't know if I'm making this record up or whatnot, but it's going to be our record here shortly. We are going to set the record for the world's fastest Speedmaster block. The world's fastest Speedmaster block. So for those of you guys out there that know a lot about buying aftermarket parts and know about Speedmaster, they make some Chinese stuff. I've run their stuff before. I've had some good luck with their, I don't want to say knockoff stuff, but they just kind of, just like everyone else in the aftermarket industry, someone's doing it, they do it, they put their name on it, and they come out with it. They might do a little bit different process in manufacturing it, and boom, there it is. So we ended up picking up their 9.5 deck small block Ford bare block, which, here's my disclaimer, right? So if you're going to go and save money, I don't know if saving money in the block is really the best way to do it, because you're going to spend the same amount of money in machine work in machining that block as you are machining a Shelby block, as you are machining a Dart Iron Eagle, as you are machining a Ford Performance, as you are machining a Speedmaster. In the big picture, like let's say, I don't know how much that block costs. Maybe I'll look it up and put it on the screen. Let's say that this block is $3,000 for an aluminum block, which is, you know, for the small block Ford stuff, pretty good deal, because I'm pretty sure like the Shelby blocks are like $6,000 or $7,000, maybe more, maybe $8,000. I don't know. You're gonna spend the same $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 in machine work and in assembly and everything like that as you would if it was a Shelby block. And the block is kind of like the heart and soul of the motor, obviously. Everything is attached to the block. I need to find a piece of wood before I say it here. This is wood. I've never had a catastrophic block failure yet. We're gonna see how far we could push a Speedmaster block. A couple people have commented. I made a Facebook post on my personal Facebook page saying that Speedmaster block is total junk. We did some things differently on this, which hopefully strengthen it. And that's kind of where we are. So let's start off here. 427-inch TCAM Performance built, Sammy assembled, small block Ford. It's got a set of Brodix Neil heads, which are very good head. I'll pop this off right here. It's got some, I think these are Jessels. I have a number of rocker arms for these heads. So I got Jessel and T&D. I think this just happened to get the Jessels on there. I'm more of a T&D guy myself. But it's got some Jessel shaft rockers. It's got the custom Lobster cam in there, the crustacean cam, which you guys can now call T-Cam Performance and order a badass small block forward crustacean cam if you guys would like. Because this thing right here, it's like the small block forward version of the Black Sheep cam. So this thing's going to be a monster. This one's a little bit more aggressive because it's set up solid roller. But making horsepower-wise, this thing is going to make plenty of horsepower. So this engine itself is quite nice. It's got a billet crank, center counterweighted. Now, that I think is something that's going to be very important for the longevity of this engine and help the block as much as you can. If you get a shitty crank in there and you start turning it really hard, you get some harmonics and the crank's flopping around. A center counterweighted crank is going to relieve a lot of stress in the block. So we're trying to do everything we can to help it. It's got a set of aluminum rods in there, so it's got a very good rod. So if you were to have a failure, let's say like a rod failure, which I doubt we would ever have a rod failure, I will say this, you could have a tune-up issue that can cause premature fatigue and failure of parts. But just as far as running, these rods are extremely beefy. This is a very similar rod to what we run in the Black Sheep, where we put, you know, 330 passes on an aluminum rod. I got one right here. The small block forward rod looks almost identical. You really can't even tell the difference. I mean, we're talking about some beefy rods here. This is a beefy aluminum rod. This rod has 330 passes on it, and I'm going to stick in another motor, and we're going to whoop some ass with it. I'm very impressed with the MGP rods. Highly recommend them. If you guys are out there looking for rods, before you even look at a steel rod, I'm going to tell you, go and get an MGP rod. If you're looking for badass steel rods, this is cheaper. I don't see any issue with running these on the street as long as you get proper preheat of the engine. So don't fire it up and hold it on the limiter. Get some heat in there and let her ride. Save some money. It's much stronger, it's much better, and much more forgiving than any steel rod. So this engine here has a set of those MGP rods in it. It's got a badass diamond piston, and then it's got those badass Brodix Neil heads on there. And look at this, I didn't even notice this. It's got this badass, let me get my light out. Small block forward nasty on the custom T-Cam Valley cover. So T-Cam manufactured this in-house because we needed something that fit a little bit different. So shout out to T-Cam for getting that right. So we got everything on there, and we're good to go. I'm very excited about this. I got a badass oil pan. Am I saying badass too much? I don't know. I'm just excited. This is a Williams Fab oil pan. They're absolutely sick. I got one on my big block. I run these pans on everything. I got one for the Black Sheep. Where is it? It's probably sitting like... There's one for the Black Sheep. These pans are what I believe to be the best pans. Mickey over at Williams Fab will get you hooked up with these. This one we had custom made, custom spec to fit in the car. Actually sit perfect, so the oil pan is not below the K-member. We moved the sump a little bit further forward to keep our oil volume the same, so it still holds the same amount. Instead, you know, if we were to bring it up, it would obviously lose volume, so we pushed it forward, have more volume. Switched from a dry sump oil system, which was on the car before, to an external wet sump. So that means we go over to an Aviade oil pump. As you can see here, we got the fuel pump tagged off the back. This car is set up to run the fuel pump separately, but there's a provision on the oil pump to run the fuel pump on the back of it, so we can do it either way depending on how much stuff we want to change. We'll probably leave it as close to the way it was before, but we're getting a fresh start. We redid a bunch of lines. As you can see, we have a bunch of Brown & Miller lines. A lot of these lines, that when they go back on, they will get changed over to Brown & Miller as well. So, oh, and look, I got an injector here, which I got to send back to billet atomizer. Speaking of that, fuel system wise on this, we have a set of billet atomizer 700s, 100% fresh motor. We got about 3 sets of spare 700s that we keep here, which we would kind of just put in rotation. The Black Sheep runs them. We got 2 sets in Slick Rick. The Bad Apple runs them. The Red Lobster runs them. And then I got 3 sets, aren't in anything. So what we do is brand new motor. We'll pop these out, stick a new set in. I'll send these back to Billet Atomizer. Those guys, they clean them up so quick, I probably don't need to have spares, but we always have a spare set of injectors with us. If something were to ever happen and we catch it early, boom, pop the new injectors in there and good to go. They're a little bit, as far as buying that many set of spare injectors, it's a little expensive, but it's a good investment, and dealing with Billet Atomizer is great. Get them cleaned up, make sure they're good to go. Like this one here, we just got it wrapped up. I kind of wrap them up like this one. I know they got to go back, so I don't end up sticking this in anything else. So we should be good to go. EFI, small block Ford, pretty basic setup as far as small block Fords go. We're really going to try and see how far we can go with the Speedmaster aluminum block. If you were to ask me, you know, they go very far with stock blocks on the LS platforms. The 8.2 deck, you know, small block Ford is not really known to have the best stock blocks ever, but I think if you have a good, perfectly balanced rotating assembly, which TCAM Performance gives us the best chance to have literally as perfect of a configuration, setup, balance, machine work, and everything that can be, I think we have the absolute best shot for this engine to go very long, live very long, go very fast, make lots of power, and be consistent and reliable. So that's the plan. So there it is. What you guys are looking at right now is a solid 26 to 2,800 horsepower small block Ford engine. I know it sounds crazy, cast block, cast head deal. This thing is bad to the bone with a forced induction turbo. It will make that power, and no, I'm not just saying that, you know, oh, it'll make this crazy number to be like clickbait or anything like that. That's what these small block Fords actually make. You know, you got some of these guys out there with the small block Fords going 188 miles an hour in the 8th mile, 100, and they're heavy cars. This engine right here, you know, this is up there in that 2,900 to 3,000 horsepower small block Ford, depending on the turbo. And I don't want to be misleading anyone. If you put a 118 millimeter turbo on there, it'll make that 2,900 horsepower. If you put a 76 millimeter on there, it'll only make what that turbo will allow it. But the small block Ford engines, they're badass platforms. They will handle the power, and you can really just turn them loose. Again, just like anything else, the tune-up's got to be spot on, but I'm a small block Ford fan now. I'm not a small block Ford guy. Don't get that mistaken. But I'm a small block Ford fan. I like them. I think they're pretty cool, and they make some good power. So the pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together. I tried to be very strategic with what we do with the program. I'm always trying to think 4 or 5 steps ahead. As you can see, we're trimming the fat. Got rid of a couple projects. Get rid of some parts. Still trying to sell the Pro Mod. Got a 632 that's supposed to get looked at on Monday. We got some stuff, some parts moving around. Trim the fat, be more efficient, and keep rocking and rolling. Go to PRI. Have a great time there, talk with some companies, see some faces, and then when we get back, we are full-blown racing. We're going to have the Red Lobster back. We're going to have Slick Rick going. We're going to have the Black Sheep going, and then we're going to be here in the shop working on only 2 more projects. We got the Bad Apple and the Glizzard. So I don't know about you guys, but 2023 is shaping up to be a killer season, and we got some high expectations. We're going to have some fun and do a lot of racing, hopefully a lot of winning. So if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, I'd definitely go down and click that subscribe button. If you guys are not planning to attend our Cars for Coffee toy drive, you guys live under a rock. December 4th, 9 a.m., Southern Vines, be there. You guys are not going to want to miss it. We're doing a burnout contest where the winner gets $1,000. All you guys have to do is show up with a toy to donate for the Toys for Tots. Or you could send toys here. I've been getting some toys sent to us, which I got to do a whole nother video of just opening all the toys and seeing what people are donating for the toy drive. So that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do. We're getting down to the wire with these videos of me just talking. I came in here on a Saturday, had to get some stuff done, and finalized my book work. So I won't be working on my computer no more. We'll just be working on cars, getting back to it, and having some fun. So thank you guys for watching. Come on, subscribe. We'll see you guys in tomorrow's upload.